In early 2013, it was a great pleasure for me to be involved in the pilgrimage tour of the Relics of St John Bosco when they came to the UK as part of a world tour. My job was to be the musical coordinator, which meant taking care of the musical provision at the various liturgies and times of prayer in the cathedrals and the places that we visited on tour. The first stage was to meet the road crew, a great team of young volunteers who were coming on the road with the Relics. And as soon as I met them, I had to teach them some warm-up exercises, and we learnt a couple of songs just before the sending liturgy, which took place in the chapel at Thornley before we went on our way up to Glasgow, up the motorway. Once we arrived in Glasgow, we went straight to the cathedral, a very beautiful building that's recently been refurbished. And the team had the task of setting up for the first time all the displays and the sails, the flags that would be used to help people journey through the experience. And here you can see people sorting out the banners, the roll-up banners. I managed to put one of them up myself, and this is what the finished product looked like. And they went all around the cathedral. There was also a welcome point which had this amazing frame that just popped out like this. Which ended up looking like that. This is how the cathedral looked with the banners up, and after we'd had a team briefing and been out for dinner, we went back to the hotel. The next day we had to get ready to welcome pilgrims and to prepare for two different masses that were being celebrated by the current and the former Archbishop. Some of the volunteers were on the street welcoming with flags. I met with some of the singers to go through the mass parts, and then I had to cantor at the masses, which was really enjoyable. Between Glasgow and Birmingham, the Relics actually went to Cardiff in Scotland and then to Liverpool, but I wasn't with the group during that time. So my next stop was Birmingham. I came back and rejoined the group on a Tuesday early in the morning. We had a team briefing and then the day began. In Birmingham, it was really clear that a big effort had been made by the Diocesan Youth Service to get lots of local school groups involved. So for the 2 days that we were there, the cathedral was just packed with primary and secondary aged children as well as sixth formers, and there was a whole host of extra activities that had been organised for them. We had Mass with the Bishop twice, and members of the road crew joined me on violin, saxophone and guitar, as well as singing, and it was great to have them on the road for the whole of the pilgrimage tour, joining in to make a bigger and a better sound together. In the evening we had a youth vigil, and the next day I managed to find some quiet time in the very beautiful Adoration Chapel. There was a theme song for the pilgrimage tour written by Martin Paulson, friend of the young, and here you can hear some of the road crew volunteers singing it as Don Bosco is placed back on the van, ready for his journey down to Cardiff for the next day.
Welcome, we are here at St David's Cathedral in Cardiff, and you can see our team. Team, get away, team! Hi! I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm alive, alert, awake, I'm awake, alert, alive. I'm alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic.
In Cardiff, it took us a while to realise that for various reasons we needed to set the cathedral up in a mirror image of the way we'd done it in all the previous venues. So this meant that the roll-up banners needed to be shifted to the right places, but after just a few minutes everything was where it needed to be. Here's some insight into the way that the casket containing the relic itself was loaded off the van and into each venue that we visited. And one of the leaders was quite concerned about our health and safety, so he would shout out various random body parts that we needed to watch out for.
Backs. Fingers.
In Cardiff it was quite an effort to get the casket inside because of the way the steps were built, but eventually we had St John Bosco successfully installed. In Westminister we led a time of prayer in the evening. Martin Paulson, who'd written the theme song, came and joined in on guitar. The next day we had Mass with the Bishop, and my Mass setting was used in most of the venues on the tour, and then at the appropriate moment the road crew came up and sang Friend of the Young from the sanctuary.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sing, just carry on. Well, thank you very much. I've never heard this song. It's beautiful.
There were people queuing up outside St George's in Southwark for hours in the freezing cold before the pilgrim experience was due to begin while we were setting up inside, and then they came pouring in. Again in Southwark we had 2 masses over 2 days, and on the second day there was a power failure to part of the cathedral, which meant that in order for the music equipment to work, an extension lead had to be run from a building far outside all the way down the cathedral, and we only just got it plugged in just in the nick of time before the Mass was due to begin. Our final stop on the pilgrimage tour was the Salesian Church of the Sacred Heart in Battersea, where invited guests came for a special farewell and departure liturgy, including a couple of bishops. And here you can see the lights being moved using the desk to focus on the casket for one last time before the relic made its way to Ireland. And here's a shot of the team, great bunch of people that I was working with on the road, and I hope we can do something similar again in the future. Being involved in this pilgrimage was such a blessing for me on so many different levels. Especially it was nice to work as part of a big team, but also it reminded me why I've enjoyed doing youth work so much over the years, and it was just great to be close to St John Bosco and to learn from his wisdom, which was captured so well in the roll-up banners, and just to reflect on that, his spirituality and his understanding of how young people need to be ministered to within the church.